A very good morning to all. Today, we are honored to have the presence of Mr. Saranga Vijayaratne, Honorary President, Colombo Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Pereira, Secretary General, Federation of Chambers of Commerce Industry, Sri Lanka, Ms. Upeka Samaratunge, Minister Consular, High Commissioner of Sri Lanka in India, and Dr. Rakesh Pandey, Head of Economic and Commercial Wing, High Commissioner of India, Colombo, Sri Lanka. At the current pandemic crisis impacting the industry world over, it is important for the industry to be connected through various medium, and PhDCCI virtual meeting platform is one of them. India and Sri Lanka have been natural partners, and it is important for the business houses of both the countries to be interconnected. And we are pleased to inform that we have been able to mobilize these industries representing various sectors on one platform today. Immediately after the inaugural address, we would request you all to currently have a visit to the exhibition area via the link which we have set separately on your email. Ladies and gentlemen, to begin the inaugural session of the India-Sri Lanka virtual B2B meeting, I now request Mr. Pradeep Multani, Vice President, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, to deliver the address, please. Sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Neeraj. Firstly, could I request all the non-speakers to kindly put their mics on mute, please? Thank you. A very good morning to everyone. Welcome to the virtual B2B meeting between India and Sri Lanka today. We are honored to have with us Mr. Saranga Vijayaratne, Honorary President, Colombo Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Ajit D. Pereira, Secretary General, Federation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Sri Lanka, Ms. Upeka Samaratunge, Minister Commercial, High Commissioner of Sri Lanka in India, Dr. Rakesh Pandey, Head of Economic and Commercial Wing, High Commissioner of India, Colombo, Sri Lanka, Mr. Naveen Sardana, Chairman, International Affairs Committee for South Asia, PhD, Mr. Prem Aniveshi, Mr. Saurabh Sanyal, Secretary General, PhD, Managing Committee members and Chair and Co-Chairs of the International Affairs Committees and Expert Committees of PhD, Industry and Trade members from India and Sri Lanka, ladies and gentlemen. I, on my behalf and on behalf of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, welcome you all for the virtual B2B meeting between India and Sri Lanka. Friends, the current global pandemic has severely restricted the travel worldwide, which has made it difficult for the procurement of new orders, which has impacted the business growth of the Indian industries that rely on export of their products. The pandemic has largely impacted the international business development activities of exporting companies, such as participating in international exhibitions, meeting prospective clients through incoming visits, etc. I take pride in informing you all that the International Affairs and Trade Fairs Division of PhD has organized over 25 interactive video conferences with the Indian missions and the respective national trade and industry chambers worldwide till date. As a follow-up to these interactive sessions, PhD is organizing multi-sectoral virtual B2B meetings of the Indian companies with their counterparts in different countries to boost the bilateral trade. Friends, as you all are aware that the Chamber during the pandemic has always strived to organize virtual meets and sessions for the Indian industry in order to reconnect the business houses around the world with Indian companies, taking the momentum forward. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce to you the PhD CCI International Virtual Meeting Platform, www.phdccvirtualmeet.com. The virtual buyer-seller meeting is a solution to help the industries in the current situation. The virtual meetings will connect the Indian companies with their existing buyers, reach out to new buyers across emerging markets, and support the Indian exporters to a large extent. You can now engage with global buyers, network with industry colleagues, and expand your customer base through this virtual platform, which is being offered by PhD Chamber. We are really grateful to the Indian High Commission in Sri Lanka and the High Commission of Sri Lanka in India for the support and guidance in making this possible. We would also like to thank the Federation of Chamber of Commerce and Industry Sri Lanka, Ceylon Chamber of Commerce and Colombo Chamber of Commerce for the valuable support. I'm sure the participants today will have fruitful and meaningful one-to-one interaction and exclusive and private virtual video meetings between sellers and buyers. I'm sure it will be a win-win for both the Sri Lanka as well as India. Friends, I will not take much of your time and wish you all the very best in discussing and finalizing your business with your counterparts as per the meeting schedule shared with you all. I must compliment the efforts of International Affairs and Trade Fairs Committee of PhD for successfully creating this wonderful, unique platform, which is the need of the hour. My team of International Affairs and Trade Fairs Division will be available throughout the program to assist you with all the queries that may arise. Go virtual, connect, and explore. Thank you, and I wish you all a wonderful and fruitful interaction during the day. God bless everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President, sir. Definitely, I mean, under your guidance, we've been able to do whatever, as you said, we've been able to connect with our own over 25 missions across the world. And we'll keep on connecting. Like there are a lot of other webinars which we planned in the coming months. So, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to our next speaker, Mr. Naveen Sardana. He's the chairman for the International Affairs Committee for South Asia, PhD Chamber of Commerce Industry. Mr. Naveen, please.
Thank you. Mr. Saranga Vijayaratne, Honorary President, Colombo Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Ajit D. Pereira, Secretary General, Federation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Sri Lanka, Ms. Upekha Samaratunga, Minister, Commercial High Commission of Sri Lanka in Delhi, Mr. Rakesh Pandey, Head of Economic and Commercial Wing, High Commission of India, Colombo, Sri Lanka, Mr. Pradeep Multani, Vice President, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Saurabh Sanyal, Secretary General, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Managing Committee members and Chair and Co-Chairs of the International Affairs Committee and Expert Committees of PHDCCI, industry members from India and Sri Lanka, ladies and gentlemen. I, on my personal behalf and on behalf of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I welcome you all for the virtual B2B meeting between India and Sri Lanka. As we are all aware, India and Sri Lanka enjoy a vibrant and growing economic and commercial partnership, with bilateral trade growing rapidly in the last decade and a number of leading Indian private sector companies investing in Sri Lanka and establishing their presence locally. Sri Lanka is India's one of the largest trade partners in SAARC, and India is Sri Lanka's largest trade partner globally. Much of the impetus for the current level of our economic interaction stemmed from the signing and entry into force of the Free Trade Agreement in 1998 and 2000 respectively. Bilateral trade between India and Sri Lanka amounted to US dollars 4.7 billion in 2019-20. The top items of export India to Sri Lanka were pharmaceuticals, minerals, automobiles, stones, agricultural products, that's salt, spices, coffee, tea, etc., iron and steel. And while the top products of Indian imports from Sri Lanka were mineral fuels, mineral oils, and products of the distillation, bituminous substances, mineral waxes, copper articles, tea, coffee, wood pulp, etc. In addition to being Sri Lanka's largest trade partner, India is also one of the largest contributors to foreign direct investment in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka exports to India have increased substantially during the past 18 years since 2000, when ISLFTA came into force. Interestingly, over 80% of Indian exports to Sri Lanka are outside the list of products covered by the FTA, thereby indicating their overall competitiveness in the Sri Lankan market. The main investments from India are in the areas of petroleum, retail, tourism and hotel, manufacturing, real estate, telecommunication, banking and financial services. Investments by Sri Lankan companies in India are also surging, taking advantage of India's dynamic economy and wider market. Significant examples include Brandex, about US dollars 1 billion to set up a garment city in Visakhapatnam. MAS Holdings, Damro, LTL Holdings, apart from other investments in the freight servicing and logistics sector. Apart from the growth in trade and investment, India continued to be the largest source market tourists coming to Sri Lanka. The total number of tourist arrivals from India to Sri Lanka during January to December 2019 was 355,002. That is approximately 18.2% of the total tourist arrivals into Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan tourists too are amongst the top 10 sources for the Indian tourism market. In 2019, more than 107,360 tourist visas were issued by the High Commission of India in Colombo to facilitate travel between India and Sri Lanka, along with 14,597 business visas. To enhance connectivity between the two nations, India and Sri Lanka entered into an open sky agreement enabling Sri Lankan Airlines to operate unlimited number of flights to 6 Indian metro airports. Sri Lankan Airline is also the largest foreign carrier in India, operating over 100 flights per week to 14 destinations in India. Friends, I am sure that discussion helps today between the counterparts of both the nations will act as offshoots of furthering of bilateral economic and business relations between both the nations. I wish each and everyone a very meaningful and successful discussion ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. Um, as rightly pointed, there are a lot of things which are being held between India and Sri Lanka, and I would again request the dignitaries to kindly visit the exhibition hall and look out for the various products and services that are being displayed. Well, now we would like to know our partners, chamber partners from Sri Lanka, to give their views on from the Sri Lankan perspective. So to start with, we may I request now Saranga Vijayarathne, the Honorary President, Colombo Chamber of Commerce, Sri Lanka, to give his views, please.
Thank you very much, Niraj, and good morning to all the participants of the inaugural session for virtual B2B meeting between Sri Lanka and India. And as Colombo Chamber of Commerce, we are indeed honored to be a partner chamber of this initiative. And we would like to thank the PHDCCI for selecting us as well. We believe it's actually giving a lot of mutual benefits for both countries. I think Naveen in his speech gave a lot of facts and figures between Sri Lanka and India, the trade relations between those two countries. We know for a fact, yes, India is Sri Lanka's biggest trade partner by far. And also, we know, as he said, 1 out of 5 tourists coming to Sri Lanka is basically from India. So we are two countries having a relationship for more than 2,500 years. So we got most precious asset we ever got from someone, which is Buddhism from India. So we more than a trade or any other relationship, a political relationship or any cultural relationship, we do have an emotional bond between two countries. When we have difficulties, India came forward and helped us. We never forget. At the same time, we believe this recent health crisis has created an opportunity for both countries to interact more than ever before. As indicated by the two speakers before me, the fact remains India as our biggest trading partner. I think the second largest when it comes to India in the SAARC region. But I believe as a chamber representative, the potential is much more bigger. It is true that we have a very strong free trade agreement between our two countries. Yes, it has been signed 20 years back in 2000. But as business chambers, we strongly believe the awareness level of the free trade agreement between India and Sri Lanka is still, even after 20 years, is a bit low. As business chambers, we can do something on that as well. Now, in Naveen's speech, he mentioned 80% of our trade is outside the FTA. So it shows that FTA has lot more to do. We know we have a very active High Commission of Sri Lanka in India, the same in Sri Lanka as well. So that strength is also will add into the initiatives of business chambers to create this awareness between these two countries. This recent health crisis, as I said earlier, has created an opportunity for us to interact more between two countries. And it's a fact that Sri Lanka and India are located geographically in a close geographically we are located closely. We have very high connectivity between air connectivity between two countries, which is disturbed at present. But it's a fact that we have very frequent flights for most of the destination in India. So we can reach India in few hours time. And also because of the cultural ties, the beliefs, the way that people think, the things that we value in both countries, the culture of both countries is there are a lot of similarities. So as I said earlier, when you have a lot of similarities in culture and when you have an emotional bond, there is a strong possibility that you do trade also much more effective man. So in addition to while appreciating PhD CCI for organizing this virtual B2B meetings, this is to break the barrier between two countries because of this coronavirus has created, which is very important for business entrepreneurs in both countries. At the same time, I would like to propose there are many things that we can do. In addition to import and export, I think Sri Lanka can be considered as a country where Indian businessmen can put their money, invest on manufacturing facilities. If you really look at the reality, sometimes manufacturing some of the products in Sri Lanka and re-exporting even to India is maybe much more cheaper from manufacturing the same product in India and transport it to another state. Because anyway we have the free trade agreement. We know when you send goods from one state to another, there are certain tax components are involved. So if we can identify products correctly, even manufacture it in Sri Lanka and exporting to India, Indian manufacturers will definitely get benefited. And also as a country who has signed GSP plus, there may be huge advantages an Indian manufacturer going to have it in Sri Lanka. Plus, as all of you know, we have a very skilled labor force which will add a lot of value to any manufacturer who is hoping to come to Sri Lanka. So that message also I would like to add in addition to appreciating the efforts of having this B2B meeting mainly focus on import and exports. So on final remarks, I would like to thank again PHDCCI for initiating this and also in selecting Sri Lanka to have this B2B meetings. At the same time, I believe the PhD chamber together with the High Commission of Sri Lanka in India as well, there are loads of things we can do in future, which will definitely have a very positive impact on the trade relationship between these two countries. So all the best for the B2B meetings going to happen today, and we are looking forward. And also there are many Sri Lankan companies are waiting join with these meetings and have a mutually beneficial relationship. Thank you very much, Niraj.
Thank you, sir. And we are sure that this is the first step towards, during this pandemic, that we are able to connect the companies. And we acknowledge your support and guidance in mobilizing the Sri Lankan companies on this platform. And we assure you that we will be having more and more such engagement in coming time as and when required. It can be sector specific, it can be multi-sectoral. So continuing on that, sir, now may I request Mr. Ajit T. Pereira, Secretary General of the Federation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Sri Lanka, to kindly share his views.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you could hear me well. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So, thank you very much. I must thank the PhD Chamber for inviting FCCISL to this very important forum. And with the Indian Chamber and the Sri Lankan Chamber movement are very closely connected. So it's a great opportunity to talk about the trade and investment between two countries. As the previous speakers told you, the Sri Lanka and India, the trade position is very high, and India has become the Sri Lanka's the biggest import destination, even though vice versa, it is not the case. And also the Sri Lanka and India had signed up several bonds like ISFTA that was signed in 1998 and effective year 2000. And also India Sri Lanka also has another bond under the Asia Pacific Trade Agreement, which is a regional trade agreement where India and Sri Lanka have become the partners. I just had the research, and everybody says that Sri Lanka, India have even exchanges on trade. So, any record in the history that who are the first traders who came to Sri Lanka? And my research revealed that during Gautam Buddha's time, two brothers called Tapasu and Balluka, two sons, visited the Sri Lanka in the eastern part of Sri Lanka and also built up the first ever Buddhist stupa in this country called the Girigadu Saya. It is there today. It's not in the original conditions, but that was the first landmark, the religious, the gesture. It was also done by two Indian traders. And today, if we look at the trade between the Sri Lanka and India, I like to emphasize on a couple of things that we have to look at. One is the ISFTA, which the India has provided about 4,400 tariff lines, the zero duty, and also the Sri Lanka has provided about 1,200 the tariff lines which comes free to India. But unfortunately, due to the trade barriers, the both countries are struggling to get the best out of this agreement. But the positive thing on the part of the Sri Lanka is Sri Lanka managed to export wide range of products, but not in great quantities yet, but in small quantities. But still, Sri Lanka managed to get the access to the Indian market with a wide range of products. And even though there are some non-tariff measures, I believe that it is the responsibility of the trade chambers from both sides to talk to each other and to come up as a joint lobbying exercise, which the FCCISL has done with the FICCI, and we started the ICE dialogue in coinciding with the visit made by Honorable Prime Minister of India in year 2015 to Sri Lanka. And we had conducted about 5 or 6, I think, six missions, and we managed to exchange very important the wealth of information between two parties. I think the most of the non-tariff measures are basically in the field of quality. Hello. Hello.
Yes, we
Hear
can
you,
hear
sir.
you.
Then the non-recognition of the quality management certificate, and there are other issues like the port of entries, and sometimes the misrepresentation by the custom officials about what is on record. However, the Sri Lanka is getting the some benefits, so especially under the ISFTA, which is to be exploited, but we could not exploit it due to the lack of capacity on the part of the Sri Lanka. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to, since there is a business forum after this inaugural session, I'd like to take 2 minutes to explain you about what are the potential products which the Sri Lanka can export to India, but it is not happening right now. Electrical machinery, equipments, mechanical appliances, the plastic articles, paper and paper products, rubber and rubber articles, cotton fabric, beauty products, and vehicle parts. If the Asian Development Bank has done the research or survey, and they found, and these publications are with us, the export value of these products, what I mentioned now, per unit is lower than the import price of the import price of the same products into India per unit. So that clearly shows that there is a very the positive price advantage in favor of Sri Lanka, and we are exporting these products to very advanced markets like Germany and France, and those products are being also imported into India, and but India is paying a higher price for all these imports which the Sri Lanka can also produce. So I think this will be a good information and the research finding for the B2B sessions. If there are traders who are basically engaged in these sectors, I will let me once again read it out. Electrical machinery equipment, pre-prepared food, machinery and mechanical appliances, plastic articles, the paper and the paper products, rubber and rubber articles, cotton fabric, beauty products, and vehicle parts. So these have a very clear price advantage if the Indian buyers can order it from Sri Lanka. So this is the special message I have for the B2B sessions, and I think for the Indian investors, I like to say Sri Lanka is importing 100 million worth dairy products from all part of the world, especially from Australia and New Zealand. But the irony is the world's largest dairy manufacturer is just hop, step, and jump from this country, that is India. And India has the best, I believe, the best organized and also the largest manufacturing systems and the cooperative system, especially in India. I'm sure that in Sri Lanka, there is quite a lot of demand. Only the 20% of dairy products Sri Lanka is producing within Sri Lanka. And we are all other, that means 80% we are exporting from other countries. And we are spending, mind you, 100 million US dollar worth dairy products. And with the Sri Lanka is coming under enormous pressure on this US dollar. Especially there is enormous pressure on the US dollar management in Sri Lanka. I think India can definitely, your investors can come to Sri Lanka and invest in this sector. That would be definitely beneficial to all the countries, especially to Sri Lanka. And when we are facing an acute shortage of US dollars. So this is also another investment area from India. And also this is where India has a national advantage and where they are doing very well, extremely. And also just for any investor, if he's on this platform, There is a 50th abandoned the farm in the eastern province in Sri Lanka. It's in extent about 50,000 acres, but it is ready for to embrace any investment or investor in India. And Federation of Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Sri Lanka is prepared to give all the information, and also for you to get, for any investor interested, to get the any details or any connectivity with the Sri Lankan authorities. So please let us know. We are happy to help you. So thank you very much once again. I must thank the PhD Chamber for giving this opportunity to talk to everybody. So thank you very much, and hope to see you again. And I wish all the best and good luck for all those who are engaged in the B2B session. And I wish everybody a very productive session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pereira. And indeed, you have touched upon a very important sector, the dairy farming, and we can work together, and we do have members from the sectors, so we can have a very focused, interactions with the Sri Lankan authorities and agencies and the members who are from the sectors. So maybe we can work together and discuss on the same. Before we invite our representatives from the High Commissions, we have a very important person with us, who is our strategic partner, FutureX, Mr. Prem Avanesi. He's the chairman of FutureX, and he's been doing a lot of work in Sri Lanka in terms of connecting both the Indian industry and the Sri Lankan counterpart. So can we have his views for a few minutes, Mr. Prem? You need to unmute yourself.
Ayubowan and namaste to all, and I would like to say it's a great work done by PhD Chamber of Commerce, creating this virtual B2B sections and bringing the industry together at this time, because it's a very crucial time going on for the industry, and not only for the industry, I should say rather for a complete countries, because the economy is going down, and it is very important for us to bring the entire industry together. In a great leadership of Multani ji and Saurabh Sanyal Sahab and Sardana ji, I think this is a great initiative. And we at FutureX, we started doing trade shows and exhibitions, understanding our relationship with Sri Lanka from 2012. And it's almost 8 years that we have been doing exhibitions in Sri Lanka. We have some flagship shows like BuildCon, Sri Lanka BuildCon, and then we have Sri Lanka Wood, and we are international joint partners with INCO, which is an engineering show, and we have partnered with Lanka Pack, where we are doing it jointly. And recently we have launched the Vet Expo also, which is related with the poultry and agriculture. So my humble request is, see, when we see the Sri Lanka, it is not only 2,500 years. I think we have a great history, and like I was going through with Guru Grantha, and I found that even Guru Nanak Dev Ji also has visited Sri Lanka, and Buddha's footprints are all there, and the great temples. We have a great history. We have a great religious bonding with each other. We have a scriptures which are almost same, and on top of it, we are neighbor to each other, and we have to take care of each other. And the most important thing here is that what Mr. Saranga was telling, that it is sometimes manufacturing here in Sri Lanka is cheaper than manufacturing in India, and transporting, because of the sea link. And there are companies, I know there are companies, those who have put up a manufacturing plant in Sri Lanka, and not only manufacturing plant, even the value addition plants which are there in Sri Lanka. One of my friends' glass factory, Gurin Glass, is also there. And they do the toughening and send it back to India. So it is basically a good situation for both the countries. Whereas we see that Sri Lanka is one of our closest nation, other than Nepal and Bangladesh. Important for us to arrange this kind of B2B meetings and bring the entire industry together and see that where we can help each other, not only on the building industry or what you call dairy industry. We can think of for leather industry. We can think of even the industry on the clothing industries and apparel industries, which are Sri Lanka is too good in that also. So my humble request is that this is a platform, and let us bring this entire synergy together. And it is only possible when Sri Lanka Chamber of Commerce and Federation, they all come together, and PhD's efforts for bringing it together. I think it is going to give us a very, 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 very great results. And we are all ready to support the industry in form of exhibitions and trade shows and B2B conferences like this. So this is it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Prem. And indeed, your engagements in Sri Lanka itself shows that how big and how close market it is for the Indian companies. Definitely, when the physical exhibition starts, then we'll be working together to explore and more. Now, may I request Ms. Upekha Samaratunga, the Minister Consular, High Commissioner of Sri Lanka in India, to give a view, share her views, ma'am, please.
Good morning to Sri Navin Shadrath, Chairman of the International Affairs Committee, and the senior officials of the PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the senior officials of the trade chambers in Sri Lanka, and the senior official of the Indian High Commission in Colombo. First of all, I would like to thank the PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry for arranging this virtual B2B meeting session for the members of the leading trade chambers in Sri Lanka. The PhD chamber is, of course, the business and industry-oriented apex body in India, and this is the most appropriate timing to engage in this kind of dialogue with focus on deepening trade and investment ties between Sri Lanka and India, and also to explore opportunities in collaboration between the private sector in the two countries. I would also like to highlight a little bit about the current scenario in Sri Lanka.
So may I now request Dr. Rakesh Pandey, Minister Consular, the Indian High Commission, Sri Lanka, to express his views.
Right. Thank you, Neeraj. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Right. Thanks. Distinguished members of PhD CCI, FCI, SSL, and the Colombo Chamber of Commerce, representatives from business and industry, and dear colleagues and friends. It is indeed a pleasure to join all of you at this virtual B2B event today. This initiative is an excellent example of what can be done in terms of sustaining economic interaction amidst the challenges created by the spread of COVID-19. And I'm glad that PHDCCI and the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, FCCISL, and Colombo Chamber of Commerce have all decided to come together in an innovative manner to enable this interaction between businesses on both sides. And I would like to convey our deep appreciation for their efforts. I'm confident that this online event will allow our companies to understand each other's requirements in a better manner and work towards finalizing mutually beneficial arrangements. We all understand that sustaining the interaction between companies at this moment is very essential, and it will also help in strengthening the economic engagement between India and Sri Lanka. Our economic ties form a very important component of the overall bilateral relationship, and in this time of the global spread of the pandemic, it is also important to ensure the economic well-being of people. And of course, this has been an area of focus for both India and Sri Lanka. So as trusted partners and friends, it is essential that we help and support each other to overcome this challenge. Our speakers before me have mentioned this. Our business and industry have been working together for a long time and have developed a very good understanding of the systems and requirements on both sides. So I think it would be important to harness this capability, this understanding that we have, so that we enhance our complementary strengths for mutual benefit. We would encourage the development of greater long-term linkages and greater integration of Sri Lankan and Indian supply chains. The chambers of commerce and industry on both sides can have a role in this. And as for India, I mean, following this COVID-19 pandemic, we have indeed undertaken a number of economic reforms in various sectors. Our package of more than almost $300 billion to rejuvenate the economy is directed at alleviating the effects of this pandemic. Our vision for an Atmanirbhar Bharat, or a self-reliant and resilient India, envisages the merging together of domestic production and consumption with global supply chains to ensure greater integration with the global economy. We continue to be one of the most open economies in the world, and very few countries currently offer the kind of opportunities India does today. So we look forward to working with Sri Lanka to address the challenges emerging from the COVID-19 pandemic and enhancing the economic well-being of our countries. The High Commission of India in Sri Lanka would be happy to extend its support and assistance for initiatives that seek to enhance the economic ties between the two countries and strengthen the friendship between India and Sri Lanka. To conclude, I would like to convey my best wishes for the success of this event. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. And I would like to inform you all that currently this inaugural session is being witnessed by over 200 industries from India and Sri Lanka. So that itself indicates the interest and the cooperation with both the countries' sakes. So would request immediately after this inaugural address, from 12 o'clock onwards, we'll have the B2B meetings. So we request your kind presence in the exhibition area as per your convenience, and to have a look and feel of the exhibitors who are present over there. In fact, we have our Vice President's exhibition stall, Dani Pharmaceutical, as well as our Chairman of the South Asian Committee, Mr. Navin Sardana's stall is also there by the name Exim Corporation. So we would request you all to please find some time to visit the exhibition area and see what is available. So with this, I thank you all, and we look forward to have such a beautiful B2B and other interactions in coming days. Thank you all. Sorry, I would request Mr. Saurav Sanyal to deliver the word of thanks. I'm so really sorry, sir. I just missed out.
Neeraj ji, has the minister, honorable minister, councillors given her?
Yes, she's having some technical problems, sir.
I think she's already come in. We can finish her quickly, and then we can have the vote of thanks.
Okay, we can wait for her, sir.
Yeah. Just see if she's there.
She's trying to connect now. Ladies and gentlemen, I think there's some technical problem at the Sri Lankan High Commission, due to which Ms. Upeka Samaratunga is not able to connect and give her address. But she has sent her apologies and the best wishes for this particular platform. May I now request Mr. Saurabh Sanyal, the Secretary General of PhD Chamber of Commerce Industry, to deliver the vote of thanks, please.
Thank you, Neeraj. A very good morning to all the distinguished participants from Sri Lanka and India, and also all the panelists who are present here this morning on the virtual B2B meeting between India and Sri Lanka. On behalf of the Chamber and on my own, I wish to thank the formal vote of thanks to each one of you, Mr. Saranga Vijayaratne, the Honorary President, Colombo Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Ajit D. Pereira, Secretary General, Federation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry, Sri Lanka, Ms. Upekha Samaratunge, the Minister Commercial, High Commission of Sri Lanka and India. In absentia, I think she is not able to be here because of some technical reasons. Dr. Rakesh Pandey, the Head of Economic and Commercial Wing, High Commission of India, Colombo, Sri Lanka. Mr. Pradeep Multani, Vice President, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Mr. Naveen Sardana, Chairman, International Affairs Committee for South Asia, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Managing Committee members, Chairmans and Co-Chairmans of the International Affairs Committee, Expert Committees of the PhD Chamber, industry members, former presidents from India and Sri Lanka, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. Rakesh Pandey and Ms. Upekha Samaratunga from the High Commission in Sri Lanka and High Commission of Sri Lanka, India, respectively, for sparing their valuable time and joining us on this momentous occasion. I would also like to thank the Federation of Chambers of Commerce and Industry Sri Lanka, the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, and the Colombo Chamber of Commerce for their continued support in bringing the business communities of both the great nations to work in closer cooperation. My special thanks to FutureX Limited, our strategic partner for the business-to-business meet. Thank you, Mr. Prem Anveshi. I hope all present today will greatly benefit from today's virtual B2B meetings. PhD Chamber, an apex 115-year-old national chamber of the country, has started the virtual B2B meetings, as was brought out by the Vice President, Mr. Multani ji, in the beginning of the inaugural session itself. Over the last 3 months, we have had more than 25 such interactions with the embassies and the business communities of both the the international community as well as our members. And this is a way of the follow-up which we are doing now by having more than 200 to 300 participants from both countries. We already finished with Nigeria, and this is our second virtual B2B meeting which will be taking place to interact with each other, to know each other, as also see the products of each other very well. I would like to So I would like to inform the audience as well as the panelists that we had the first meeting between the PhD Chamber members and Abuja Chamber of Commerce members last week, and it was a very, very successful virtual B2B meeting. And today we are having the India-Sri Lanka meeting on the similar lines. But a very important point which I want to highlight here, especially to, in absentia, of course, the Minister, Ms. Kamaratunge is not here. but Samaratunge is not here. But I would like to mention it to the Honorable President of the Chamber, as well as the Colombo Chamber and the other chambers who are present here, that the Honorable MOS Finance had a ideation meeting yesterday that how to increase exports from India. As you are all aware, India has got a very huge demand, be it in the services, be it in the manufacturing. Our USPs are our food processing, our tea, which is of course there in Sri Lanka too, and our Ayush products. Our Vice President is sitting here, whose stall is also there in the virtual B2B meeting. Ayush products have found a great and phenomenal success in all over the globe, and especially during COVID-19. I can assure it, my office can assure, my employees and our people, our managing committee people will assure you that there is nothing better than using Ayush products, Ayurveda products for beating this COVID-19. This Wuhan virus can be very easily tackled and very easily, protected from if you start using the famous thousands of years old Chavanprash, which is made from all the ingredients which are very, very famous and which are found not only in India but in Asia, I would say. And this is one product which Multani Pharmaceuticals is making and distributing. One of the finest companies, one of the biggest companies of Ayush Ayurveda, which is functioning here in India. So, and these are very age-old. Multani Pharmaceutical Company itself is a 68-year-old company, 83-year-old company, I would say. And they are producing these, and they have become the experts and masters of such products. So, this is one item which has got a GIS and which is very, very important for India. Similarly, basmati rice. Similarly, tea. The Assam and Darjeeling tea are famous world over for years together, as for Sri Lanka. The Sri Lankan tea, I have been consuming Sri Lankan tea whenever I have been, I have been gifted Sri Lankan tea when I was there in Sri Lanka some 15 years back, and thereafter again during the delegations. So these are the super items which both these countries possess. And being from the same region, the SAARC region, India and Sri Lanka can build tremendous number of bridges. There was the first bridge during the Ramayanas, which was built by Bali and his people. Hanuman built those bridges when India and Sri Lanka joined hands together. We have multiple bridges today and multiple ports today where India and Sri Lanka can join and participate together, do their business together. But we have to iron out many issues, very small issues, which can easily be ironed out, which are well known to both the High Commissions, as in High Commission of Sri Lanka as well as High Commissioner of India in Sri Lanka. And both the Indian businesses also know these problems, but they can be ironed out very well. They can be, the non-tariff barriers can be sorted out, and we can have a very, very close association, because India and Sri Lanka once upon a time were together. They were part of the greater country. And this is one place where our destinies have always been together. Our religion has always been together. Our eating habits have been together. Our drinking habits have been, that tea has been there together. I mean, there are so many similarities between India and Sri Lanka. So this is one of the missions and visions of the PhD chamber today, that we have, even during COVID-19 times, we have these virtual B2B meetings. This is just the beginning. It is not the end. And we continue to have such relationships in the future. I hope all present today will greatly benefit from today's virtual meeting. My special thanks to both the participants of both the countries who are going to be participating today, making their businesses meet today, making connections today, people to people meet and product to product meet. I would also like to compliment the Secretariat led by Mr. Naveen Seth, who is not present here today, but his team, Mr. Neeraj, and all the International Affairs and Trade Fairs Division, the chairman, the co-chairman, and all the staff who are supporting and who are working very hard today to make this happen. for creating this unique platform. And I thank them all today. I hope everyone will find it useful, and our interactions today will be the offshoots in furthering the trade and economic relations of both the great nations. I would also like to thank Multani Pharmaceuticals very profusely for having supported this conference and this virtual B2B meet. And with these words, I would like to request all the panelists to carry this vote of thanks with acclamation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. But again, request all the distinguished guests to kindly have a visit to the exhibition area as per the convenience.
Yeah, Naveen, Neeraj, can you explain the process of visiting? Because many of them...
all of your email ID has been registered. You just need to click on the link and put in your email ID as a login ID.
But have the link been sent to everybody?
On the email ID, on the email addresses, we have already shared that.
Right.
Use your email address. You click on it and go to the sellers area. Auditorium is for where this panel is being held. Sellers area is where the exhibition stalls are there, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Look forward to see you all at the exhibition area. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rakesh ji. Please visit the exhibition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.